Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Inventory Champions podcast. This is the podcast that is all about results in wholesale and retail inventory. It's a world we come from. It's Inventory Champions for Inventory Champions. And let's talk about one of the greatest inventory champions of all time. Here he is, Barry Sweeney, the voice. Welcome back, Barry. How are you?
Thank you so much for that humble introduction.
Yeah. Just
Yes,
like you wrote it, I read it very well.
you read it exactly like. Thank you, Dan, and thanks everyone for tuning in with us. We're really excited for you to be here, and we have episode 2 of this awesome series, and we're looking forward to sharing some more detail with you on what it takes to be a deeper blue chip champion, some of the habits there. So can't
Yeah.
wait to really get into this.
It's only a two-part series, like you said, but it's a key one. So, Blue Chip Performance, we've done this for years. The other episode, it's okay if you watch them out of order, but the other one is called The Tale of Three Buyers, or Three Inventory Investment Managers. And we think you'll find that fascinating. You'll either find yourself in it, or you'll find a teammate or someone that works with you or for you in it. But once you watch that, you should be saying, well, what's it look like to be a performer? And as we do, let's go back to the probably the main screen from that other podcast, Barry. We know these a lot of numbers here, but we talked last time about Blue Chip Betty, Sufficient Sam, and Wing It Wendy. And these are three inventory pros, each driving a business that drives 10 or 100 million in inventory dollars, right, in revenue. Each
Yeah.
started with 10 million in inventory. Blue Chip Betty, through great performance, of which you described really well, brought the inventory down to 7 million. Sam brought it down a little bit. Wing It Wendy did not. In fact, made it a little bit worse. But in doing so, we introduced that new term, return on inventory investment, which is such a critical one that all of you can calculate. And if you're not seeing our screen right now, Blue Chip Betty, all three of these businesses are 2% profit businesses, driving 2 million in profit. So with 7 million in inventory, 2 million in profit, Blue Chip Betty was a 28.6% profit, inventory investment. Wing It Wendy all the way down to 18%. And what a big difference in this. And we said if Blue Chip Betty takes her 3 million in inventory savings and they buy another business, invest in another product area, or just general growth, instead of driving 2 million in profit, she can drive 2.857 million in profit with the same 10 million in inventory that she started with. And when you see that, and you got as excited as I did, Barry, when we saw that last week,
Yeah.
you just have to be saying then, what's it take to be a Blue Chip Betty, and how do we get everybody performing like that? And that's what this is.
Well, that's it, Dan. And we've taught people for years, think financially in everything that you do when you are making your decisions. Think financially, and there is no better picture than this one right here to help folks understand what does it mean to think financially. It's truly understanding the income statement, but it's even deeper than that. In this picture right here, man, it is so powerful. I know there are folks who are listening in the car and they're thinking, wow, what are these guys talking about? Well, when you get back to your home office or your office, you definitely want to check this out. We'll make sure the PDF's available for you guys to look at this, because this is the platform. This is the, shall I say it, a catalyst to get you going to think financially.
It gets us realizing just the importance of this role, and it's why we love this profession.
Yeah.
So watch that one if you have not yet, or listen to it. And so here we are. This is the matrix we're going to work from. Let us know if you want a copy sent to you. This is the Blue Chip Performance Matrix. And this was not just built by us. Years ago, we reached out to the community through a big survey project. And we asked, don't tell us what everyone's doing. Tell us what your best are doing. If that's if that's two analysts, if that's five, if that's just one, tell us what they're doing. And we put these things in categories. Again, it started with a survey, and then it turned into two lines that we'll read to you. One are the suggested like minimum requirements of what blue chip performance is. And then beyond minimum requirements, what's Blue Chip Betty doing? So Barry, let's each kind of take a section here.
Okay.
We have certification levels showing if whatever advanced inventory solution you're using today, as long as they have a nice certification process, most have followed the one we've used for years, that 5-level process where that 5th level is really a champion level, but that 4th level is really a master's level. Even if you're not using an advanced system, reach out to us. We have a lot of education that we can throw your way to get you right there.
Yeah.
So for starters, replenishment. Some of this will be obvious, and some will be obvious, but it's not being done necessarily. So this is always a funny one. What percentage of the due orders that pop up every day are placed every day? It should be a no-brainer that it's anything that pops up as due that you're going to place, but we've learned over time that's not always the case. So we basically say, hey, if it's due, you have to place it, and for sure Blue Chip Betty does that. And then when do you have them placed by? It's not just, hey, I can do it in 20 minutes. If that 20 minutes is 5 p.m., you're losing a day of lead time. So most say they want them done by 10. Blue Chip Betty has her orders done by 9, probably before that, and they are onward to the supplier. How often should you visit that detail screen, often called the item detail screen, that shows you why you're buying that quantity? Well, we're basically saying it should definitely be less than 20%. There should be very few surprises when you see a suggested order quantity. Blue Chip Betty says that's way too high, even 20%. Less than 5% of the time would I go there. And that's really what you want also. And you should rarely make changes, as we show here, and she does not make changes. If there's a change needed, something is broken and you need to fix it. So she is so disciplined in that regard. But Barry, what does it start with though? But setup, right?
Absolutely. That's where it starts. And, reaching out to the community, they said, hey, look, minimum, and that's a key word there, minimum of 2 times a year. Well, she definitely meets the minimum, but she's taking it even further, and she does targeted setup. So because she's spending less time buying, she's done by 9, and she's not making all of these changes. She has freed up time to focus on things that are really going to help that replenishment process run more smoothly. And that targeted setup, she's going to be able to go in and find, fix, and then move on. Percentage of items profiled, she's right on where her industry is. Now, we have said for years, still holds true, this is the last area where you are going to master your knowledge and your execution is on your profiled items. But she's doing a great job there. She's not over profiling. She's not under profiling. She's doing it just right, just as you would expect someone who's a blue chipper. And then managing lead times, where many just say, you know what, you should spend a minimum of a few hours per week on that. Well, not her. She sees it as an area of opportunity, just like you see your demand exceptions as an area of opportunity. So she treats it like it's part of her daily routine, her weekly routine, and has, and understands exactly how to dive into the details when she needs to, because she's offset that time.
And think about it, Barry. Doesn't that tie in well with what we talk about in one of the other podcasts? Seeing your lead time visually. If you do that, the time of 2 hours can be so focused and so helpful. You'll have that as strong as your demand forecast. So Some of the other maintenance that most have to do. Well, one of them, and we'll do a whole podcast on this, new item management. It's too easy to say, I didn't perform well on new items. They're new. What can you do? Well, what you can do is take all the time you save with your system and spend at least 3 times as much on a new item as you do other items. If you just decide that's what it's going to take, then you can start to really track and see how you're doing there. Until you buy into that amount of time, you'll never hit the numbers you want. Now,
No
some of
question.
you expedite and some of you don't. That's a tough one to say, but what Blue Chip Betty does is she likes to keep track of her orders, right? And she knows when she needs to make a phone call or when things are looking pretty good. So the key is it's part of her daily viewing. And then here's one. Ooh, exceptions. What percentage of the time when you see a demand exception do you feel the need to go ahead and make a change to the forecast? The answer is not zero. The answer is not 100% or 80. You've got to find that area where you're not overdoing it, but you are helping it where it's needed. Most have told us like 15, 20%, and she holds true to that as well.
Gosh, yeah. I love that last one there, Dan, because there's just a handful of questions that you should ask. What caused it? Is it going to continue? Did it affect my forecast? What action do I take?
Yeah.
The ones who've bought into that, they're only changing the ones that they have to because they're following that strategy. The
Yeah.
moment you veer from that, that percentage goes up. Not with Blue Chip Betty. So, transitioning over to your forecast to your period end stuff, which we love period end. Being able to stand and present, and we've talked about that, and we'll probably mention that a little bit later. But your period end, looking at your forecasting accuracy, plus or minus 5% is that excellent range. Plus or minus 10, we've seen through the years, Dan. That's good. Good's not good enough. You want to be great. Well, her accuracy is plus or minus 3%.
Yeah.
No, the blue chippers are. So transitioning from forecasts, which forecasts do lead to better service, even though we know that forecasts aren't the sole impact to service, but it certainly doesn't hurt, does it, Dan?
No.
So when you're looking at your the community and talking about the number of periods that service goals attained, because she's done all of these things leading up to the period end, the proper replenishment, targeted setup, doing the maintenance that she needs to do. It's hard for her not to be. It's hard for a blue chipper not to be successful. So yeah, she's had 10 of 12 periods where boom, that the period end, or blue chippers had 10 of 12 periods where it's been really, really strong. And we talked about overstock. So looking at the average overstock, 10, I think what 10, 15%, we're looking at those numbers. That's really what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Your numbers may be higher. Certainly don't think you can do it all in one swoop, but for a blue chipper, around 8%, still not satisfied with 8, trying to get better and better.
Yeah.
And that number will get better and better, similar to service and forecast in the period end or better, because of all the things that we just talked about leading up to this period end.
So look at Blue Chip Betty. You just hit that 8% overstock, and she'll probably get better than that. Performing like this, there will be cash freed up. And with that freed up cash, you will want to reinvest it somewhere. Good chance intermargin buys, forward buys will be a place to do it. And at this point, she has 10% of her inventory back into forward buys. That will probably go up. We'll do a whole series on the money you make from that. But again, let us know if you want a copy of this. You can put your own numbers in.
Yeah.
We'll get you a version on Google Sheets to you.
Yeah.
So we'll go down the line here, Barry, and look at the 10 habits of what it takes to do everything we just looked at, to perform like Blue Chip Betty. And I'll start with this one, and this is about education. Okay, here's a common breakdown of the education flow, and I'm just going to say this. You don't have to put this up as a requirement for Betty and say, please achieve level 3 by this point, please achieve level 4. She is craving to learn. She is going to jump in as soon as possible to master the foundational pieces, knowing how to set up the system and run the system. She's going to crave getting to that advanced level where she really is working the system and starting to really see some strong results. And then Betty's going to want to fix her own issues. So she's going to achieve that master's level as well. And really, whether she wants to be full-time champion or not, she'll be a great coach. But again, she'll be on her path. You won't have to push her to be on a path, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a great point there, because sometimes someone who's a blue chipper, Maybe they don't want to be the champion. Maybe they would be a great champion, but they're a better blue chipper at doing their job. So
Yeah,
let them enjoy that as a career, as that's their
absolutely.
destination. If they love it, man, just let them fly at what
Yeah.
they are really, really good at. Um, talking transitioning over here and talking about the setup pieces. Well, I mentioned a moment ago, targeted setup. So someone like Blue Chip Betty, she's not going to, as Dan was talking about earlier, she's not going to go in changing order quantities and playing the game that we've talked about for years, whack-a-mole, changing this component and changing that. And next thing you know, you haven't told the truth in those key components driving the buying. And when you don't tell the truth, you don't know where you are. You don't know what the truth is. Well, not with her. It's targeted setup. It's understanding that if I have a forecast issue, I'm going to find it with exceptions. I'm going to find it with my freed up time. Lead time forecasting. I'm going to be able to look at my lead times because I'm spending more time looking at them visually, understanding the ones that are driving my safety stock, that are driving my orders too high, that are, maybe those one-time buys that are tripping me up. She's going to be doing more in that area, more in the forecasting area than others could even imagine doing because she's freed up all of her time. They can't understand how she's doing it. She's doing it because she's freed up her time. And
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful thing. It's not, hey, I freed up my time and it's time just to, okay, chill out. No, it's time to do a deeper dive, do the things that we always wanted to do, which we didn't have time to do way back. So it leads to, these other areas, whether it's looking at your order cycles, redoing those and understanding when she makes a change that's going to impact the overall supplier, where maybe she's made lots of service or forecast changes in her analysis or lead time changes. Well, she understands when to redo those order cycles. And then, of course, that leads to redoing the service levels as well. So understanding that how all these components work together, leading to replenishment, disciplined daily replenishment, like we mentioned in the last podcast,
Mhm.
disciplined daily replenishment. That is a key word. So understanding that, knowing that when you are having to do your absolute best, you are doing it based on these forecasts, whether demand, lead time, order cycle, and all of those different things that are driving that replenishment process. And of course, as you mentioned in the last slide there, um, freeing up all of this time to hit the special order opportunities, well, you're going to be able to trade off your time. You're going to be able to trade off dollars that were overstocked and focus on more time in that area, which is going to drive the bottom line results. So someone like her is going to be able to do all of these different things, which yes, are foundational, but she can get as elaborate and as deep as she wants, and that's what she does.
And for some, maybe there's a executive watching saying, I don't know this detail. Well, for the inventory pros, over time, you could pull this screen up and they would see a number that looked out of whack like that. They would just go, oh, the buying mulch has gone to 15 days. You'd see it right away. When you're new on your solution, maybe not so much, but you would
Yeah,
get there.
yeah,
And all of this, Barry, when all this is clean, here's the result. So
yeah,
number three, disciplined daily replenishment. When things look balanced like this and all the items are roughly on the same spot on the depletion, which is kind of what we're showing here, these bars are stacked by items and everything was within like a 10, 20 days of each other, as opposed to this supplier line, which is way unbalanced. The balance comes from all of these being in sync. The
yeah.
unbalance comes when that doesn't happen. And when it's
That's
all in
that's one of
sync
my
and you just
favorite pictures.
execute daily replenishment, again, could be 20 minutes a day, it'll stay balanced and you'll be golden.
Oh, I know. I know. Wouldn't it be so cool? And some solutions do, but if every solution had that picture before you placed your order,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. I mean, talk about a game changer, helping you understand, wow, look what I've done. I am way out of balance, or, oh yeah, I'm doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Love that picture. So, and speaking of that, all these different components here. We're looking at the depletion graph. So for those of you who are driving in the car, um, if you haven't heard of the depletion graph, if you haven't seen one, download this PDF when you get back to your home office or you get back to your office. And this one, said for years, this one you should have on your wall in your office. Have it on your wall somewhere because this is the overall picture of showing how an order becomes due to be bought. So Dan was talking about earlier Blue Chip Betty and how she's placing those due orders 100% of the due that are in there because she knows she's told the truth in the components, and all of those components are leading to an order saying, hey, buy me. And guess what? She buys the order because she trusts her setup. She trusts her methodology. Her processes are nice and buttoned up. So she challenges those orders, but she does not camp out on the orders. She goes in, she finds, she fixes, and then she moves on because she understands this picture right here. She understands the components of safety stock and lead time and how they're creating these item order points uniquely. And then she's understanding the vendor or the economic order cycle that's being used to buy her items. So when she sees something that is out of place, it's easy for her to know, okay, I've got a multiple wrong. Oh, I've got a service level issue. I've got a lead time. She understands all of these things because she understands this picture right here. So it enables her to challenge the orders, but not spend a lot of time camping out on the orders. Find, fix, get in, move on. That's exactly how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, because on this one, you just said a second ago, if you could see the stuff in pictures, it would be clear this order's not due to be placed. This vendor line, it's not there yet. Maybe there's one of the items kind of down here triggering it. She would know, oh no, it's not ready. I'm not going to place it. I'll go in and fix that, and it'll be several days before it hits. So challenging saves you money. And then we've talked targeted work. So doing everything exception-based and targeting with analytics, that's the beauty. So we showed all those cogs just a second ago. Well, you'll see 10 of them like this, using the analytics. And as we talked about the buying multiple, if that buying multiple has grown from 8 days to 11 now, look at that, Barry, 11 could go to 12 or more. That's where you'll say, okay, that's where I need to focus. There's probably already a dashboard for that, but if not, just do a few targeted things and see which items are causing that number to be so high and get them back down. So you monitor these numbers, they'll all become so normalized to you, you'll see quickly what is not normal. And really, if executives are watching, they should know these 10 numbers also. And we'll have a full podcast on that, as well.
Well, that's a good point that you bring up on that, Dan. And it's understanding your business, understanding that I need to understand overall what my portfolio is. So that's at the executive level, manager level, certainly at the buyer level. I wouldn't want to walk in the door without understanding what my inventory portfolio is. And truly having analytics in your tool chest so that you can easily see your information in living color. Mm-hmm. You're turning this data into insights, into these stories, which lead to actions, which lead to results. Being able to do your job and go through the routine, a Blue Chip Betty's going to do that. She's going to go through and work the game plan. She's going to be successful. But also, she's going to be able to understand if someone asks her, hey, how many days of safety stock do you have on your suppliers? How many days of lead time do you have? Because she is using analytics to paint these pictures. And hey, let's face it, we all look at pictures and we all relate to pictures better than we do a list. And Excel, yes, is a list, which is more tactical and get things done, but it doesn't really tell you the big picture. Analytics tells you the picture, and that's exactly what the blue chippers are doing, especially Blue Chip Betty. She's saying, hey, I am understanding my portfolio. I'm executing. I'm doing targeted replenishment because I have a tool set that helps me to do that.
And so many of our executives have said, we want no more of Excel in our department here. Got to turn it all into analytics, and we love the sound of that. And of course, as we've said, make sure you turn everything into a financial number. Sometimes, Barry, even we are guilty of forgetting to make sure that we take a graph or take a final number and turn it into the so what. So, what does it mean financially? Tie it into the income statement as much as possible. If there's an overstock, what's that going to cost you until it gets to normal? If there's an out of stock, what did that cost financially in revenue as well as net profit? Always turn it into a financial number. Once you get in the mode of doing that, you'll keep doing it and you'll be a lot more relevant at team meetings, throughout the company. That's probably the best result of that one.
Yeah, and you know what, Dan, also you become very excited too because you're turning percentages or you're turning days of supply, you're turning that into numbers, real numbers, and not that
Yeah.
those aren't real, but these numbers are more tangible because you're able to see the profit that you're generating for the company. You're able to see the cost that you are incurring that are maybe hurting the company. Seeing it like that is a more complete, it's a much broader picture that you should be looking at rather than just the tactical pieces of doing your job every day and not seeing the colorful stories
Yeah.
that are out there. Um,
And by the way, Barry, I know this is not intended to teach them yet how to teach. That's be on another one, but
yeah.
this picture's here just because of the how everybody can teach to some degree, right?
Well, yeah, that's it. So, you let's face it, we're all comfortable when we're using a solution and we've used it for a while. We're comfortable moving around and navigating in it. And we want to show everyone how easy it is to navigate and move around. I can click this and I can do this and enter this and see how it all just works so easily, guys. But it's so much more than that. The nuts and bolts and the mechanics of things. Yeah, you have to know that and you have to be an expert at that. But when you are teaching it, you got to ratchet it up a level or two to understand the whole philosophy behind what you are doing. So being able to teach someone the the navigation piece, that's easy. It may be hard initially, but that's just hard because it's new, not because it's really that difficult, especially these days. I mean, point and click and all of that is so much easier. But being able to teach it to someone, well, Blue Chip Betty understands, hey, I can't dive into the details. And she's going to also understand, and we haven't talked about this one in our podcast yet, but she's going to understand the personality styles and how to read and react with those different personality styles. And for her, she's going to, like I said earlier, she's going to ratchet it up to a higher level and then set the foundation and the philosophy and the methodology behind why you're doing what you're doing. As a result, the reception is going to be much stronger because she set it up properly to begin with.
Well, once you know you're going to teach something, that's when you really learn it. That isn't
Yeah.
it? That's when you have to master it. It's a
Yeah.
whole different level of. It's kind of funny how that goes.
Yeah. I
Realized till
know.
later on, I learned that really well because of the pressure.
I know.
Uh, okay, we have a couple left, and this one we've kind of stolen this picture from our champions picture because these are the pieces to be a champion. But it makes sense here. Blue Chip Beatty says, one of my ways of getting stronger is I need to network. I need to collaborate. I need to do it across departments in the company, meet everybody and connect, build bridges, learn what they do, share, and I need to do it outside the company. The best people we work with have said, hey, who can I connect with at my level in different companies? Can I go to one of your, you know, gatherings, champion gatherings, annual gatherings? If I make a connection, can I go visit them and have them come visit me? That's the type of stuff that's the type of stuff that a real leader like Betty is going to do, which is always great. When they call us and say, who do you know that I can talk to that is really good at buying multiples? That's always
Oh my gosh. It is one of the best questions ever, isn't it? I
it,
mean, we're high-fiving. We're like, yes, yes. They get it. They're as we say about our kids, or we used to say when they're little, they're growing up.
yeah.
You know?
Hey, I don't know how
Uh,
it worked this way, but you got lucky and got the best one in the last one.
yeah. Somehow I think you might have had something to do with that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Blue Chip Betty. She she knows how to stand and she knows how to deliver. What does that mean? Well, it means she understands her portfolio because, like you said earlier, Dan, you were talking about fear just a minute ago. You know, that's the thing that drives you to be able to teach something better. Well, if she's going to stand and deliver her portfolio and talk about her results, you better believe she's going to understand all the components that are driving the buying. She wants to set an example of being a blue chip buyer, understanding that I need to do all of these things that lead to a successful day, that lead to results. And she's gotten the education that she needs to be able to talk about the income statement, talk about what's driving her business. And here's a key point, guys. She wasn't perfect the first time she did it. When
Mm.
she stood and delivered, no, she might have been a little clunky, but that's okay. In fact, sitting around a table might have been the first approach she used, and then built up the confidence to then stand and deliver. Because as she grew with confidence to be able to stand and deliver her business, what was good, what was bad, what was really bad, not, not pretty at all, and being able to deliver that to within her company, within the different areas. Maybe they've invited some folks into their monthly meeting. Being able to do that is not easy. But somebody like Blue Chip Eddie keeps working at it because we all are not great at it the first time we do it.
Hmm.
You build that confidence, you build that delivery over time. And then what's great is you can coach others to stand and deliver their portfolio, and it really becomes this infectious thing that's really impactful to everyone to be able to stand and deliver. And if you haven't done it, man, start doing it because it is such a powerful thing.
And when you're excited to do it, it's going to come across better. And if you need help with that, if you need some numbers, obviously we say go to the analytics first. That's why we put this idea up. Can you imagine, Barry, where we used to work, if you get all those people who used to kick sand in our faces from sales in different areas and got them in a room with our president, with our CFO, and said, by the way, with the information I have now, let me show you the net income percentage on our top items versus our new items versus our slow items versus our import items versus our
Yeah.
private label, and so on and so on. It would be a shock to them, and they would realize, wow,
Yeah.
we're the ones that have that wealth of information.
Yeah.
So start
Absolutely.
off and hit them with a pow, as Barry Sweeney says. Come out guns blazing the first time, and you'll have their respect, and they'll keep coming back to watch for more.
Yeah.
So hey, we've gone through a bunch. We want to make the offer again that if you want this grid, we'd be glad to get you either the PDF or the Google Sheets on it. And if you take it and customize it for you, then great. But if there's no plan, you have much less chance of results. Set a requirement for what great looks like and work it, and then find those achieving the high levels, get their numbers in, and coach everybody to those levels. And however we can help, we will do it. Barry,
Yes,
that
we
was a pretty
will.
quick series, but you know what? We're ready for the next one.
We are. We
We'll
are.
knock their
That's
socks
the,
off with that one.
yeah, I know. We always say, "Oh man, that's one of my favorites." And all of them can't be your favorites, but it's like A plus versus A plus versus A plus in terms of how we feel about delivering these.
That's right.
So yeah, that was a fun one. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we'll see you down the road in the next one.
That's right. See you soon. Thanks so much.